So I got the car back in the garage, and I got it on all 4 jack stands. There's a shit ton of work. I don't even know where to start, but I guess we're gonna be messing with the engine since I got most of the parts for that. Do the basic rebuild stuff, like I'm gonna do cam seals. So I got brand new cam seals. I got a front main and a rear main seal. Valve cover gaskets. I'm doing a brand new water pump. New tensioner, new idler pulley. You see, I got the ARP studs for the head. If I needed to do a gasket, but I'm not sure yet. I got the Chase Bays oil filter relocation sandwich plate. Is because this front facing manifold doesn't fit with the factory original, and plus I'm not going to be using their coolant lines anymore. So this is going to get relocated right here, shorted out of the way for this, so this can sit in there flat. And I also got my new injector tops. I got new O-rings for them all, and I got it just mocked up in there for now, but I need to get new bolts for the whole plenum side of it because the factory ones are super long, they stick out, so I just need shorter ones. But I think with so much needing to be done on the car and not really knowing exactly where I should tackle it at first, I think I'm going to start off in the front end since I need to tube the lower half of the car. I already tubed the front, like you guys saw in my last video of me working on this, but I need to get a right tube bender first of all, but they're a little expensive, so I've been holding off on that. But as soon as I get it, I think I'm going to go straight into the lower radiator support of it and then start perfecting that so I could jump onto the rear end and do the same, because I want to make custom bash bars and I want to make toe points for this thing. So it's gonna have toe points in the front and in the back. One of the main reasons I'm running this HKS bumper is because it gives me the clearance that I wanted to have the exposed bash bar. Well, it doesn't come like this. I cut out the lower diffuser part, but it looks good cut. I think the main thing right now is to dial in the engine bay with radiator support, finish the front tube setup, finish making all my brackets, and then I want to get a final test fit on the engine because I kind of think my manifold's going to be in the way on the strut tower, but we'll find out. Yo, she's in. Look at that. All right. Well, this is just a test fit. This isn't permanent. I'm still missing a ton of parts anyway, so I pretty much just put it in there to make sure 100% I was gonna clear right here. And looks like we're a little over an inch away from the strut tower, which is pretty crazy, but it's a perfect fit. Yeah, obviously I did all the seals and stuff already while it was out, but still a bunch of maintenance work to do and a bunch of new parts I gotta slap on still. But man, my biggest concern was the intake manifold and the turbo manifold. Whenever I had my last manifold, it was from CX Racing. It didn't clear. I had to make a notch back there on the frame. I don't know if you could see, but I had to notch it and like weld it shut to clear some of the tubing on the manifold. It was a pain, so it didn't fit great. But now shout out to Zach at 259 Fab. He made this fit absolutely perfect. It gives me a ton of clearance. So we got a lot done. I started, well, actually finished almost getting the rest of the core support bent. So I added this piece here, my upper tie bar, cross member, whatever you want to call it. I had to move it forward so I could get clearance on the radiator, because the radiator pretty much sits where the other tie bar went, and I needed space for the pulleys. Now it fits pretty perfect, and it was kind of a plus because now I got bumper brackets on each side that I welded in, and then I'm gonna be able to make radiator brackets here, so that's gonna benefit me in two ways. So started working and mocking up the bash bar for it. Just a piece of 1.5 inch tubing. It's ERW, nothing fancy. I welded it on the end plates here, but they come off with two 12 mils, so this is all going to be one piece, and I still have to weld it, make it look prettier, stuff like that. But I started bending the jack point for it. So I got a 120 degree bend, and I have to size it correctly. So theoretically it's just going to be a big V. I'm going to cut it to size and then taper the ends, and then somehow get it to weld in the middle, and then it's going to cross underneath the bumper, and that's going to be the jack point for it. And then we could finish up grinding all these welds, because they're not the prettiest, but they're on there nice and they penetrated. So alright, so I finished welding it. Pretty much how it looks off of the car. But what a lot of people keep asking me on Instagram is, what are these plates? So these are the OEM factory end plates that go on the end of the frame rail right there. And it takes two 12mm bolts, and it's actually and it's sleeved. So it has this metal sleeve in there, so it doesn't compress when you tighten it. It stays nice and strong, so it's not a weak point, which is mainly why I used it. And it was I forget what gauge thickness that metal piece was, but it's pretty solid. So, but this thing just slides right in. Okay, that was a little harder than I thought, but I needed to whack out the inner frame rail a little just so it could slide in nice. So that's it. Coming out great. I'm loving it. I actually ended up raising it to the end because I wanted it a little higher, but it's pretty much flush and tucked underneath the bumper, and I made some rough cuts. They're not perfect. So this is the clear out section for the jack, and then these are for the front tubes. I'm otherwise very happy on the progress I've been doing with the IS build. It's a lot more than what I've done in the last 5 months, so I really hope you guys are enjoying the process. I'm trying to like record as much as I can. Once I make these brackets, I mean, I'm pretty much good after this engine comes back out, and I could actually finally prep the engine bay for another round of primer, and then final prep, and then paint. So there's still a decent amount of work to be done still, and that's one of the most time consuming. The engine was pulled back out, and I finished welding up the lower radiator support. Yeah, so it's nothing perfect. Like I've mentioned a million times before, this isn't my skill. This isn't my like go-to skill set. I'm not a professional at this at all. I'm still learning, so my welds are dog shit. But I'm making sure they're penetrating and it's holding. And that's kind of all that really matters to me at the moment. We did timing belt. I got a Titan cam sprocket, and I got the Drift Motion VVTi cam gear billet cover, but she's almost getting there. So one thing I want to see if I can get custom made is maybe this bracket. I wish this bracket could go a little shorter, because in reality, if this power steering pump sat like down here, it'll be perfect because I don't need it up there. It's kind of just in the way. And especially with the throttle body, has such short clearance. It's like almost hitting the pulley. I checked already, I put the belt on, it clears, but it's just one of those like sense of security, you know? Alright, so the core support and everything I finished welding is an edge primer. I put bond in a few little areas to make it smoother. I need to put a little more filler here to make it a little rounder. Just to get it like as perfectly smooth as I can. Then I can finally strip that edge primer and finally get it ready for the real 2K primer. So it's looking really nice. I'm loving the way it looks, so I just had to throw something on there so it doesn't start rusting. But this is gonna be it for this video. In the next video, you're gonna see me painting this. We're gonna get a real nice silver. After that's done, in the next video, you're gonna see me prepping it for paint, and we're gonna be laying down some color on this thing, hopefully. So if you guys in the comments want to let me know what kind of video it should be so I can start planning for it, I could do a tutorial, or I could do just a quick time-lapse setup how I was doing here. But I don't mind showing you guys how I do it step by step. I'm painting an engine bay. I would kind of pretty much make it a DIY paint job. I'm not sure if I'm going to paint it in the garage yet or at the shop, but regardless, if you guys want a DIY, I could totally do that, and I'll show you guys everything I do step by step. Thanks for watching, and peace out.